The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council headquarters caught the light from 3 different suns as it slowly rotated above the planet Nexus Prime. Inside the dome, hundreds of different alien species worked together in perfect harmony. They had been doing this for over 3,000 years. Ambassador Zektar adjusted his silver robes and walked quickly down the long hallway. His 4 arms moved gracefully as he hurried toward the emergency meeting room. The Velnati people were known for their calm nature, but today Zektar felt worried, very worried. The message had arrived just 2 hours ago. A deep space probe, one of thousands that watched the galaxy for new civilizations, had found something impossible. The probe was in a star system that nobody had visited before. The system had a single yellow star and several planets. Nothing special about that. But the energy readings coming from that system made no sense at all. Zektar entered the meeting room where 12 other ambassadors were already seated around a circular table. Each ambassador looked different. Some had scales. Others had fur. Some breathed oxygen. Others needed different gases. But they all shared the same confused expression. "Show them what we found," Zektar said to the room's computer system. A 3-dimensional image appeared above the table. It showed a star system with 9 planets. The 3rd planet from the star glowed with the lights of cities and space stations. "Clear signs of intelligent life. This species calls themselves humans," said Ambassador Throx, a large creature with 6 eyes. "Our probe intercepted some of their communications. They seem to be a young civilization, maybe 1,000 years, of space travel at most." "Then explain this," Zektar said. The image changed to show energy readings from the edge of the star system. The numbers were so high that several ambassadors made sounds of disbelief. "That cannot be correct," whispered Ambassador Yilara, whose people had the most advanced sensors in the galaxy. "Those energy levels would require a ship larger than our biggest space cities." "The probe checked the readings 5 times, Zektar replied. "Every time, the same impossible numbers." For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had kept peace among 847 different species. They had rules that everyone followed. No warships longer than 2 kilometers. No weapons that could destroy planets. All military technology had to be registered with the Council. These rules had prevented major wars and kept smaller species safe from aggressive empires. But these humans seemed to have broken every rule without even knowing the rules existed. "What do we know about their technology level?" asked Ambassador Droken, whose people were master engineers. "Basic fusion power. Simple, faster-than-light travel. Their weapons appear to be chemical explosives and primitive energy beams." Throx answered, "Nothing that should produce readings like this." "Unless they are hiding their true capabilities," Yilara suggested. The room fell silent. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no species had ever successfully hidden advanced technology from Council sensors. It was simply impossible. "There is another possibility," Zektar said slowly. "They may have discovered something we do not understand. Something completely new." This idea scared the ambassadors more than the thought of hidden weapons. The galaxy had reached a balance of power that worked for everyone. If one species suddenly had access to technology that others could not match, that balance would collapse. "We need to make contact," declared Ambassador Veltar, the Council's military advisor. "We must determine if these humans pose a threat to galactic stability. And if they do?" asked Droken. Veltar's expression grew serious. "Then we must neutralize that threat before it grows larger." Several ambassadors shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Council preferred peaceful solutions, but they had used force before when necessary. The Krothak Empire had learned this lesson the hard way 2 centuries ago when they tried to enslave smaller species. "I recommend we send Admiral Vexara with the first contact fleet," Veltar continued. 12 ships should be enough to handle any situation we might encounter." Zektar nodded. Admiral Vexara was the best officer in the Council fleet. Her people, the Mordani, were natural diplomats, but also fierce warriors when needed. If anyone could handle first contact with these mysterious humans, it would be her. "The Harmony's Edge and her escort fleet can reach the human system in 18 days, Veltar said, calling up star charts. "Standard first contact procedures will apply. Universal peace signals, mathematical communications, gradual approach, to show peaceful intent." "What if the humans are hostile?" Throx asked. "Then Admiral Vexara has full authority to defend herself and withdraw," Veltar replied. "The safety of her crew comes first." Zektar studied the energy readings again. Something about them bothered him, but he could not figure out what. The numbers were too clean, too precise, almost like someone wanted them to be detected. "There is something else," he said to the group. "The probe detected no military vessels in the human system. No patrol ships, no defensive platforms, no orbital weapons. For a species with this level of technology, that seems unusual." "Maybe they are truly peaceful," suggested Yil'ara hopefully. "Or maybe they do not need visible defenses," Veltar said grimly. The ambassadors spent the next hour reviewing everything the probe had discovered. The humans had colonies on several planets and moons in their system. They had mining operations in asteroid belts. Their population seemed to be in the billions. By all appearances, they were a normal, growing civilization, except for those impossible energy readings. "One more thing troubles me," Zektar said as the meeting ended. "The probe has been watching their system for 6 months. In all that time, not one human ship has left their system. Most species begin exploring beyond their home system as soon as they develop faster-than-light travel." "Perhaps they are simply cautious," Throx offered. "Or perhaps they are hiding," Veltar said quietly. As the ambassadors left the meeting room, each returned to their offices to send urgent messages to their home governments. Within hours, every major power in the galaxy knew about the mysterious humans and their impossible technology. Some species immediately began moving their fleets to defensive positions. Others started diplomatic preparations for potential new trading partners. A few began making plans for war just in case. But none of them were prepared for what Admiral Vexara would actually find in the human system. 3 days later, the Harmony's Edge and 11 escort vessels departed from Nexus Prime. Their mission was simple: make peaceful contact with humanity and assess their technology level. Admiral Vexara stood on her ship's bridge, watching the stars streak past as they jumped. To faster-than-light speed, she had conducted first contact with 17 different species during her career. Most had been friendly, a few had been hostile, all had been predictable. Somehow she suspected the humans would be different. The fleet would arrive at the Edge, of the human system in 15 days. Vexara used that time to study everything known about human culture and technology. Her science officers prepared translation programs and peaceful greeting protocols. None of them imagined they were flying toward a meeting that would change the galaxy forever. Deep in space, automated sensors detected the Council fleet's approach and sent coded messages toward the inner system. The messages traveled faster than light, reaching their destination in moments. Somewhere in the darkness between worlds, something vast began to wake up. Captain Elena Vasquez floated gently in the zero gravity of the observation deck, watching Jupiter's storms swirl through the massive window. Behind her, the bridge of the UES Olympus Mons hummed with quiet activity. Her crew of 3,000 worked in shifts around the clock, maintaining humanity's greatest secret. The ship stretched 47 kilometers from its pointed nose to its engine arrays. Its hull was black as space itself, covered in materials that absorbed every form of radiation. For 80 years, the Olympus Mons had drifted between Jupiter and Saturn, invisible to any sensors the galaxy possessed. Elena had been captain for 12 years. Before her, Captain Rodriguez had commanded the ship for 15 years. Before him, Captain Chen had served for 20. Each captain knew they might never see Earth again. They were humanity's last line of defense against a galaxy that could crush them without effort. "Captain, we have an update from Deep Space Monitor Station 7, called Lieutenant Commander Sarah Kim from the communications station. "The alien fleet is maintaining course toward the inner system. Estimated arrival in our detection range in 6 days. Elena pushed off from the window and drifted back to her command chair. The chair was built into a platform that could rotate in any direction, allowing her to see every station on the bridge. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of every object in the solar system. "Any change in their formation?" Elena asked. "No, Captain. Still 12 vessels in standard exploration pattern. Their energy signatures match Council fleet configurations from our database." Elena nodded. For 97 years, humanity had been listening to galactic communications. They had learned the languages, studied the technology, and watched empires rise and fall. They knew about the Galactic Council, its rules, and its military capabilities. They also knew that by galactic standards, Earth should have been discovered and contacted decades ago. Humanity had made sure it was not. "Atlas, show me the tactical comparison," Elena said to the ship's artificial intelligence. A three-dimensional image appeared in front of her chair. It showed the approaching Council fleet alongside a scale model of the Olympus Mons. The alien flagship was 1.8 kilometers long, considered massive by galactic standards. Next to the human dreadnought, it looked like a toy. The enemy fleet possesses approximately 40,000 crew members across all vessels, Atlas reported in its calm voice. Combined firepower equivalent to 2.7 teratons of explosive force. Defensive capabilities include quantum shielding and gravitational deflection systems. "And our capabilities?" Elena asked, though she knew the answer. "The Olympus Mons carries a crew of 3,000. Primary weapon systems generate firepower equivalent to 847 petatons. Defensive systems include quantum-entangled armor plating, localized space-time distortion fields, and regenerative hull matrices." Elena smiled grimly. The Olympus Mons could destroy the entire Council fleet without taking significant damage. But that was not the point. Humanity did not want to conquer the galaxy. They just wanted to make sure the galaxy could never conquer them. The ship had been built during the darkest period of human history. In 2157, Earth's telescopes had detected signs of a vast galactic civilization. Instead of celebration, the discovery had caused panic. Humanity realized they were surrounded by thousands of alien species, some of which could wipe out Earth without effort. The solution had been Project Titan, Humanity's best scientists and engineers had worked in secret for 30 years to build ships that could protect Earth from any threat. The Olympus Mons was the first and largest of 5 Titan-class vessels. The others were hidden throughout the solar system, silent guardians watching over humanity's home. "Captain, message coming in from Earth Defense Command," Lieutenant Kim reported. Elena activated her private communication channel. The message was from Admiral Martinez, head of Earth's secret space navy. "Elena, the Council has issued first contact protocols to their fleet. They plan to attempt communication when they reach the inner system. The President is meeting with the Security Council in 2 hours to decide our response." Elena closed the channel and looked around her bridge. Her crew was the best humanity had to offer. They came from every nation on Earth, united by a single purpose, protecting their species from a galaxy that did not yet know they existed. "Commander Kim, what do our cultural specialists think about these aliens?" Sarah Kim pulled up her files. She had been studying alien psychology for 8 years, preparing for this moment. The Galactic Council appears to value peace and cooperation, but they enforce it through superior military power. When they encounter a new species, they offer membership and protection. If the species refuses or poses a threat, they use overwhelming force to neutralize the problem. And if we reveal ourselves? Best case scenario, they offer us membership as a minor species. We would have to follow their laws, limit our military, and accept their authority. Worst case, they see us as a threat and attempt to destroy us before we can become more dangerous. Elena had read the same reports. Throughout galactic history, no species had ever successfully resisted the Council's authority. A few had tried. Their home worlds were now uninhabited ruins, serving as warnings to others. But those species had not possessed Titan-class vessels. "Captain, I have a question," said Lieutenant Torres from the weapons station. "Go ahead. Why did we build ships? Like this? If we just wanted to hide, we could have stayed on Earth and used stealth technology. Why build weapons that could threaten the entire galaxy?" Elena had wondered the same thing when she first took command. Over the years, she had come to understand the answer. "Because hiding only works until someone finds you," she replied. "When that happens, you need to be strong enough that they decide to leave you alone." The bridge fell silent as her crew considered this. They all knew their history. Earth had tried hiding before, during the early days of space exploration, but advanced civilizations always found primitive ones eventually. The only choice was to be primitive and defenseless, or advanced and dangerous. Humanity had chosen to be dangerous. "Atlas, run a simulation of first contact scenarios," Elena ordered. "Please specify parameters, Captain. Assume the Council fleet discovers our presence. Model their likely responses based on historical patterns." The AI processed the request for several seconds. "Simulation complete. In 78% of scenarios, the Council fleet attempts to withdraw and report our existence to their superiors. In 19% of scenarios, they attempt direct communication. In 3% of scenarios, they attack immediately. And in each scenario, what is our optimal response? In all scenarios, revealing our full capabilities results in the highest probability of long-term human survival and independence." Elena nodded. The simulation confirmed what she already knew. Humanity could not hide forever. When they were discovered, they needed to make it clear that they were not prey. "Captain, we are receiving a priority message from Mars Defense Station," Lieutenant Kim announced. Elena opened the new channel. The message was short and direct. All Titan-class vessels are authorized to reveal themselves if necessary to protect human interests. Rules of engagement updated. You are cleared to make contact if the situation requires it. Good luck, Elena. Admiral Martinez. Elena closed the channel and looked at her crew. After 80 years of hiding, humanity was finally ready to introduce itself to the galaxy. All stations, Stand ready. We may have visitors soon. The Olympus Mons continued its silent drift through space, but now its sensors were fully active, tracking the approaching alien fleet. In the depths of the ship, weapon systems that had never been fired outside of tests began charging their power banks. Somewhere in the distance, 12 alien vessels moved toward a meeting that would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. Admiral Vex Ara stood on the bridge of the Harmony's edge as her fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the human solar system. Through the main view screen, she could see the distant yellow star that these mysterious beings called home. "All ships report successful arrival," announced Commander Thyros from the communications station. "Fleet is in standard first contact formation." Vexara nodded, her 4 eyes scanning the tactical displays that surrounded her command chair. The Mordani people had evolved with excellent eyesight, allowing them to process multiple visual inputs simultaneously. Right now, she was watching sensor readings, fleet positions, and communication channels all at once. "Begin long-range scans of the inner system," she ordered. "I want to know everything about these humans before we get close enough for them to detect us." The science officer, a thin creature called Zil Nox, whose people were known for their analytical abilities, worked quickly at his station. "Admiral, I am detecting extensive industrial activity throughout the system, space stations around the third planet, mining operations in the asteroid belt, colonies on several moons." "Military installations?" Vexara asked. "None that I can identify. There are orbital platforms around the home world, but they appear to be civilian in nature. Communication relays, research stations, manufacturing facilities." This puzzled Vexara. Every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy maintained visible defenses. Even the most peaceful species built patrol ships and defensive platforms. These humans seem to have none. "Perhaps they are truly peaceful," suggested Commander Thyros hopefully. "Or perhaps they hide their military assets," Vexara replied. She had been a military officer for 40 years and had learned to be suspicious of things that seemed too good to be true. "Admiral, we are receiving multiple communication signals from the inner system," reported the communications officer. "The humans appear to use primitive radio and quantum-encrypted data streams. Any sign they have detected our arrival?" "No, Admiral. Their sensor technology appears limited to their immediate vicinity. We could approach to within 1 light hour before they notice us." Vexara made her decision. "Set course for the outer edge of their sensor range. Standard approach speed. Begin broadcasting universal peace signals." The Council fleet moved deeper into the human system, passing the outer planets. Vexara studied everything her sensors revealed about these mysterious beings. They had achieved faster-than-light travel, but their ships were small and appeared to be designed for exploration rather than war. Their energy production was impressive for such a young civilization, but nothing that threatened galactic norms. So where were those impossible energy readings coming from? "Admiral, we are approaching the giant planet they call Jupiter," Zilnox reported. "Preliminary scans show extensive mining operations around its moons, very efficient resource extraction. Any sign of military vessels?" "Negative. Only civilian transports and industrial ships." As the fleet moved past Jupiter, Vexara began to relax slightly. Perhaps the energy readings had been a sensor error after all. These humans seemed like a typical developing civilization. Advanced. Enough to be interesting, but not advanced enough to be dangerous. Then everything changed. "Admiral!" Zilnox called out, his voice filled with alarm. "I am detecting a massive object between Jupiter and Saturn. The readings are impossible." "Show me," Vexara commanded. The main view screen switched to long-range sensors. At first, the object looked like a large asteroid. But as the computer enhanced the image, Vexara felt her blood turn cold. It was not an asteroid, it was a ship, the largest ship she had ever seen. "Size analysis now," she ordered. 47 kilometers in length, Zilnox reported, his voice shaking. Mass equivalent to a small moon. Energy readings are off our scales. Vexara stared at the image in disbelief. The ship was larger than most cities, larger than some space stations. It violated every principle of galactic military doctrine. How is that possible? Commander Thyros whispered. No species in the galaxy builds ships that large. Because it is impossible to build ships that large, Vexara replied. The structural stresses alone would tear apart any known material. The power requirements would exceed the output of most stars. But there it was, hanging in space like a metal mountain. As they watched, lights began appearing along its hull, hundreds of them, then thousands. The ship was waking up. "Admiral, we are being scanned," the sensor officer reported. "The energy beam is incredibly sophisticated. It is analyzing our hull composition, power systems, and weapons loadouts." "All ships, raise shields," Vexara ordered. "Prepare for possible hostile action." But even as she gave the order, she knew it was useless. If the humans had built one, ship this large, they probably had weapons to match. Her entire fleet would be destroyed in seconds. The giant ship slowly began to turn toward them. Despite its enormous size, it moved with surprising grace. Whatever propulsion system it used was beyond anything in galactic technology. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. "Put it through," Vexara said, surprised that her voice remained steady. A human face appeared on the view screen. It belonged to a middle-aged woman with short, dark hair and calm brown eyes. She wore a blue uniform with insignia that meant nothing to galactic civilization. "Unknown vessels, you have entered human space," the woman said. Her voice was transmitted in perfect galactic standard, despite the fact that humans were supposed to be an undiscovered species. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth ship Olympus Mons. State your intentions." "The Bridge of the Harmonies." Edge fell silent. Vexara realized that several impossible things had just happened. The humans had detected her fleet from an incredible distance. They had translated her language perfectly, and they had revealed a ship that should not exist. "This is Admiral Vexara of the Galactic Council Fleet Harmony's Edge," she replied. "We come in peace, seeking first contact with your species." "First contact?" Captain Vasquez raised an eyebrow. "We have been monitoring galactic communications. For nearly a century, Admiral, we know who you are and why you are here." Another impossibility. No undiscovered species had ever successfully intercepted and decoded galactic communications. "Then you know we mean no harm," Vexara said carefully. "We know you represent the Galactic Council," Vasquez replied. "We also know the Council's policy toward species that do not conform to galactic norms." The threat was politely stated but unmistakable. The humans knew they possessed technology that violated Council regulations. They also knew what usually happened to species that violated Council regulations. "Captain Vasquez, I assure you that the Council seeks only peaceful cooperation with all species." "Perhaps, but we have learned that the galaxy can be a dangerous place for those who cannot defend themselves." As if to emphasize the point, weapon ports began opening along the massive ship's hull. Vexara counted hundreds of them, each large enough to house weapons that could destroy her entire fleet. "We are prepared to discuss terms for peaceful coexistence," Vasquez continued. "But those discussions will take place on our terms, in our space, under our protection." Vexara realized she was no longer conducting a first contact mission. She was negotiating with a species that held all the advantages. "What are your terms?" she asked. "Your fleet will maintain its current position, while we arrange for proper diplomatic contact. You will make no aggressive moves and take no hostile actions. In return, we will guarantee your safety and provide you with accommodations suitable for your species." "And if we refuse?" Captain Vasquez's expression did not change, but the weapon ports on her ship glowed brighter. "Admiral, I suggest you do not refuse," Vexara looked around her bridge. Her officers stared back at her with expressions of shock and fear. In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, no first contact had ever gone like this. "We accept your terms," Vexara said. "Excellent. Please transmit your fleet's technical specifications so we can prepare appropriate docking facilities. We will begin formal diplomatic contact in 12 hours. The transmission ended, leaving Vexara alone with her thoughts and her fears. She had come here expecting to meet a primitive species that needed galactic protection. Instead, she had found beings who possessed technology that could threaten the entire galactic order. As her fleet took defensive positions around the giant human ship, Vexara composed an urgent message to the Galactic Council. The message was short, but would change everything. First contact successful. Human technology far exceeds galactic norms. Recommend immediate high-level diplomatic engagement. The galaxy has a new player, and they are not asking for permission to join the game. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going for 6 hours, and Ambassador Zektar had never seen anything like it. Around the circular chamber, representatives from 847 different species argued, threatened, and pleaded with each other. The carefully maintained order of galactic civilization was cracking under the weight of Admiral Vexara's report. "This is impossible," roared General Crothax, the military representative of the Thexori Dominion. His massive form towered over the other ambassadors as his scales flashed angry red. "No single species can possess technology this advanced. The humans must be receiving aid from an unknown galactic power." "The evidence suggests otherwise," replied Ambassador Yalara calmly. Her people, the Zorani, were known for their logical approach to problems. "Our deep space monitors have detected no unusual activity in human space, no foreign vessels, no energy signatures that match known galactic technology. Whatever the humans have built, they built it themselves. Then they must be destroyed before they become a threat to galactic stability," Crothax declared. A chorus of voices erupted around the chamber. Some species supported immediate military action. Others called for diplomatic solutions. A few suggested offering the humans advanced galactic technology in exchange for their cooperation. Zektar watched the chaos and felt a deep sadness. For 3,000 years, the Council had maintained peace through a careful balance of power. Every species followed the same rules, used similar technology, and accepted Council authority. That balance was now broken. "Order! Order!" called High Chancellor Morthul from the center of the chamber. The ancient being's voice carried the authority of his 1,000 years in office. "We will hear from Admiral Vexara directly." The chamber fell silent as a holographic image of Admiral Vexara appeared above the central platform. Her image flickered slightly due to the quantum-encrypted communication across dozens of light years. "Honored Council members," Vexara began, "I must report that everything we believed about the limits of technology may be incorrect. The human vessel I encountered is not just large. It is sophisticated beyond our current understanding." "Explain," demanded Chancellor Morthul. "The ship's hull appears to be composed of materials that exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their sensors can analyze molecular composition from distances that should be impossible. Their power source generates energy signatures consistent with controlled black hole manipulation." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Black hole manipulation was theoretical technology that most species considered impossible. "Furthermore," Vexara continued, "the humans have demonstrated the ability to create localized gravitational fields. During our negotiations, they moved a small asteroid simply to show they could do it. The level of control required suggests mastery of space-time physics that exceeds our best theoretical models." "How many of these ships do they possess?" asked General Crothax. "Unknown. Captain Vasquez implied there are others, but provided no specific numbers. She also indicated that this vessel, the Olympus Mons, is primarily defensive in nature." "Defensive?" Crothax laughed harshly. A ship that size could destroy entire fleets. It could level cities from orbit. Yes, Vexara agreed. But, Captain, Vasquez was very clear about their intentions. They do not seek territorial expansion or galactic dominance. They want to be left alone to develop in peace. And if we refuse to leave them alone? Asked Ambassador Veltar. Vexara's expression grew grim. Then I believe we would face a war unlike anything in galactic history. A war we might not win. The chamber erupted again. The idea that the mighty Galactic Council might lose a war to a single species was unthinkable. Yet here was their best admiral telling them exactly that. What are the humans offering in terms of diplomatic relations? Asked Ambassador Drokan. They are willing to join the Council as full members, with certain conditions. They will not limit their military capabilities to Council standards. They will not allow Council inspection of their technology. And they want guarantee rights to protect smaller species from aggressive empires. Unacceptable, declared General Crothax. No species can demand special privileges. With respect, General, Vexara replied, I do not think they are asking for privileges. I think they are stating facts. They have the technology to enforce their demands. The question is whether we accept their terms or try to stop them. Zektar stood up slowly. As the senior ambassador, he had the right to address the council directly. I have been studying the humans for the past week, he said. Their history, their culture, their values. They are not conquerors by nature. For most of their civilization, they have fought among themselves rather than seeking to dominate others. But they are also survivors. When threatened, they respond with overwhelming force. What are you suggesting? Asked Chancellor Morthul. I am suggesting that we have encountered something completely new. A species that has chosen isolation and defensive supremacy over expansion and conquest. They do not want to rule the galaxy. They simply want to ensure that no one else can rule them. And you think we should accept this? Crothax demanded. I think we have no choice, Zektar replied. The alternative is a war that could destroy galactic civilization. For several minutes, the chamber remained silent as each representative considered the implications. Finally, Chancellor Morthul spoke. We will put it to a vote. All in favor of accepting the human terms for council membership? Lights appeared throughout the chamber as representatives cast their votes. When the counting was finished, the result was clear. 634 votes in favor, 213 against. The motion passes, Chancellor Morthul announced. Ambassador Zektar, you will return to human space with Admiral Vexara to begin formal negotiations. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Captain Vasquez stood in her ready room aboard the Olympus, Mons reading reports from Earth. The revelation of humanity's hidden capabilities had caused as much chaos on Earth as it had in the galactic capital. Captain, incoming transmission from President Chen, announced her communications officer. The president appeared on Vasquez's wall screen, looking tired but determined. Elena, I wanted to personally thank you for handling first contact so well. The council has agreed to our terms. What about Earth's reaction, Madam President? Mixed. Some people are excited about joining galactic civilization. Others are worried about losing our independence. But everyone agrees that you made the right choice in revealing ourselves. And the other Titan-class vessels? They remain hidden for now. The galaxy knows we have advanced technology, but they do not need to know exactly how advanced. That information gives us negotiating power for the future. Vasquez nodded. Humanity had revealed enough to gain respect and membership in the Council. They had kept enough hidden to maintain their independence and security. There is one more thing, President Chen continued. The Council has asked us to provide protection for several smaller species that have been threatened by aggressive empires. They want to see if we are serious about our peaceful intentions. And our response? We accept. It is time for humanity to take its place as a guardian of galactic peace, but we do it on our terms, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. After the transmission ended, Vasquez returned to the bridge. Through the view screen, she could see the Council fleet maintaining a respectful distance. They had been impressed by humanity's power. Now they would learn about humanity's values. Commander Kim, open a channel to Admiral Vex Ara. Channel open, Captain. Admiral, I have received word from my government. We accept the Council's invitation to membership. We look forward to working together for galactic peace and prosperity. Thank you, Captain Vasquez. I believe this will be the beginning of a new era for all of us. As the Olympus Mons powered down its weapons and opened its docking bays to receive the first galactic diplomatic mission to Earth, Vasquez reflected on how much the galaxy had changed in just a few days. Humanity had spent a century preparing for this moment. Now the real work would begin, proving that power and responsibility could coexist, and that sometimes the strongest guardian was the one who chose not to use their strength. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the command deck of the UES Guardian, watching the peaceful flow of civilian traffic through the Kepler Trade Corridor. The new human vessel was only 12 kilometers long, tiny, compared to the Olympus Mons, but it still dwarfed most ships in the galaxy. Admiral, we have 3 freighters requesting escort through the Vorthan system, reported Commander Torres from the communications station. Pirates have been active in that region lately. Assign the Defiant and Resolute to escort duty, Vasquez replied. Standard protection protocols. It still amazed her how much the galaxy had changed since humanity revealed itself. The mere presence of human ships on patrol routes had ended 3 major interstellar wars and reduced piracy by 90%. Nobody wanted to fight when beings capable of moving asteroids were watching. The Galactic Council had honored their agreement with humanity. Earth now held a permanent seat with unprecedented voting power. Human technology remained off-limits to inspection, but humanity had shared selected innovations for peaceful purposes. Medical advances, agricultural improvements, and communication systems had benefited species throughout the galaxy. Admiral, incoming priority message from Earth, Commander Torres announced. President Martinez appeared on the main screen. She had replaced President Chen after the historic election, where humanity voted on its role in galactic affairs. Elena, I have good news and interesting news. Which do you want first? The good news, please. The Velnathi system dispute has been resolved peacefully. Both sides accepted human mediation rather than risk military action with our ships in the area. Vasquez smiled. The Velnathi had been fighting over mineral rights for 50 years. The arrival of human peacekeepers had convinced them to try diplomacy instead. And the interesting news? The Council has received a request from the Outer Rim. Territories. 17 species want to form a new defensive alliance under human protection. They are calling it the Protected Worlds Initiative. This was significant. The Outer Rim species were small civilizations that had always lived in fear of larger empires. Now they saw humanity as a protector that asked for nothing in return except peaceful cooperation. What is Earth's response? Vasquez asked. The Security Council has approved it. You will be in charge of establishing patrol routes and defensive positions. Just remember, we are protectors, not rulers. After the transmission ended, Vasquez walked to the observation lounge where she often went to think. Through the transparent walls, she could see the stars that humanity now helped guard. It was a responsibility her species had never sought, but had accepted when necessity demanded it. Admiral, a voice called behind her. She turned to see Dr. Sarah Kim, now humanity's chief xenobiologist and cultural liaison to the Council. Sarah had been instrumental in establishing peaceful relationships with dozens of species. What brings you here, Sarah? I wanted to share something with you. I just finished reviewing the latest galactic crime statistics. Good news, I hope? Better than good. Interstellar warfare is at the lowest level in recorded galactic history. Piracy has dropped to almost nothing. Even minor conflicts are being resolved through mediation rather than force. Vasquez nodded. The piece of strength. More than that, Sarah continued, I think we have fundamentally changed how the galaxy thinks about power. Before humans arrived, strength meant the ability to conquer and control. Now, strength means the ability to protect and preserve. Through the observation windows, they could see a small convoy of ships from 6 different species traveling together peacefully. A year ago, some of those species had been enemies. Now they traded and cooperated under human protection. There is something else, Sarah said. The Council's Xenopsychology Department has asked for our help with a problem they have never encountered before. What kind of problem? Several aggressive species have voluntarily disarmed their military fleets. They say there is no point in building weapons when humans have ships that make warfare obsolete. The Council does not know how to handle voluntary disarmament. Vasquez laughed. I suppose that is a good problem to have. Later that day, Vasquez attended a virtual meeting with the other Titan-class commanders. Captain Rodriguez of the Olympus. Mons was still on duty in the Sol system. Captain Singh commanded the Everest from a hidden position near the galactic core. Captain O'Brien led the Kilimanjaro on patrol in the troubled outer rim. Captain Nakamura's Denali guarded the peaceful inner worlds. Status reports, Vasquez requested. All quiet in home space, Rodriguez reported. Earth Defense Command is processing applications from 47 species that want to establish diplomatic missions on Earth. We may need to build a bigger space station. The Outer Rim situation is stabilizing, O'Brien added. The Krothak Empire has withdrawn their fleets from disputed territories. They claim they are focusing on internal development instead of expansion. Translation: They are scared, Singh said with a grin. Half the galaxy's military budgets have been redirected to infrastructure and social programs. Nobody wants to spend money on weapons that cannot compete with ours. Vasquez felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had achieved something no species in galactic history had managed. They had made war unprofitable and peace attractive. There is one more development, Captain Nakamura reported. The Council has asked us to establish a permanent peacekeeping academy on Nexus Prime. They want to train officers from all species in conflict resolution and diplomatic protection. And our response? Earth has approved it. We will be teaching the galaxy how to keep peace, instead of how to make war. After the meeting ended, Vasquez returned to her quarters and activated her personal communication system. Her daughter, now a lieutenant aboard a human exploration vessel, appeared on the screen. Hello, Mom. How is galactic peacekeeping going? Better than we hoped. How is your mission to the Andromeda contact zone? Fascinating. We have made contact with 3 new species this month. All of them have asked for human protection before they even learned our name. Apparently, our reputation has spread beyond our own galaxy. Vasquez felt a mix of pride and responsibility. Humanity had become the galaxy's protector, but they had done it by choice rather than conquest. Any word on when you might come home? She asked. Actually, I have news about that. The Exploration Service is establishing a permanent base in the Andromeda Galaxy. I have been asked to command it. Congratulations. Your father would be proud. I hope so. We are naming the base Chen Station, after the president who made first contact possible. After her daughter signed off, Vasquez walked to her personal observation deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships maintained the peace that allowed billions of beings to live, work, and dream without fear. Other human vessels explored new worlds and made contact with species that had never known galactic civilization existed. Humanity had spent centuries wondering if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they were not alone, and they had chosen to ensure that no species would ever have to face the darkness of space without protection. The galaxy had found its guardians, and the guardians had found their purpose. On Earth, children looked up at the night sky and saw not empty space, but a vast community of worlds that their species helped protect. They dreamed of exploring distant stars and meeting alien friends. They planned careers in diplomacy, science, and peacekeeping. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human guardianship had begun. In the deep void between galaxies, automated sensors detected signs of an approaching threat. Something vast and hostile was moving toward the local group of galaxies, still centuries away, but inevitable. When that threat arrived, it would find not a collection of competing species and scattered worlds, but a united galactic community, protected by guardians who had learned that the greatest power was the power to preserve rather than destroy. The galaxy slept peacefully, watched over by humanity's silent titans, knowing that tomorrow would bring new opportunities for cooperation, exploration, and growth. It was a future worth protecting, and humanity had proven they were worthy of the trust placed in them. The stars shone brightly, and for the first time in galactic history, their light illuminated a universe truly at peace.
Sam Carter stared at the computer screen, his eyes red from lack of sleep. For 3 nights straight, he had been analyzing the same signal pattern. It wasn't random noise like it should be. The pattern repeated too perfectly. Sam worked alone, in the small mountain observatory. Most people thought he was crazy for choosing this isolated location, but the radio silence made it perfect for listening to the stars, and now the stars were talking back. He took another sip of cold coffee and played the audio conversion of the signal again. It pulsed with a rhythm too regular to be natural. Sam had discovered something important, but he needed someone else to confirm it. The next morning, Sam drove his old truck down the winding mountain road to the nearest town with decent internet. He sent his data to Lisa Donovan at NASA with a simple message: "I found something you need to see." Lisa was enjoying her first cup of morning coffee when the email arrived. As the director of NASA's new extraterrestrial communications division, she received dozens of supposed alien signals every week. Most came from amateur astronomers who mistook satellite transmissions or pulsar signals for alien messages. She almost deleted Sam's email without opening it, but something made her click. Lisa had known Sam from graduate school. He wasn't the type to make wild claims. The data made her spill her coffee. The pattern was unlike anything in NASA's records. It wasn't from Earth satellites, and it wasn't a known cosmic phenomenon. After running it through 3 different analysis programs, Lisa picked up her secure phone. "This is Director Donovan. I need to speak with the president immediately." Within 48 hours, a government helicopter landed at Sam's observatory. Lisa stepped out, followed by a serious-looking man in plain clothes. "Sam, this is Alan Brooks," Lisa said. "He's here to help us understand what we're dealing with." Alan nodded but said nothing. He had spent 20 years in military intelligence before being recruited for this assignment. His job was to assess threats, and anything unknown from space was considered a potential threat until proven otherwise. Inside the observatory, Sam showed them the original data and his newest findings. "The signal is getting stronger," he explained in simple terms. "Whatever is sending it is getting closer to Earth." "How close?" Alan asked, speaking for the first time. "Based on signal strength, I'd guess it will reach our solar system within a week." Lisa and Alan exchanged concerned looks. "We need to set up a proper monitoring station here," Lisa decided, "and we need to prepare for possible first contact." Within days, Sam's small observatory transformed into a high-tech command center. Government scientists brought in equipment Sam had only read about in journals. Satellite dishes appeared on the surrounding peaks. Military personnel established a security perimeter. Sam felt out of place in his own observatory, but was excited to work with the advanced equipment. For the first time, he could see the signal in higher resolution. It contained information, complex mathematical sequences that had to be intentional. "It's definitely a message," Sam told Lisa and Alan during their nightly briefing. "I just can't figure out what it's saying yet." Alan remained skeptical. "We should prepare for all possibilities. If something is coming here, we need to be ready if their intentions aren't friendly." Lisa disagreed. "A civilization advanced enough for interstellar travel could destroy us without announcing their arrival. The fact that they're sending a message suggests they want to communicate. Their debate was interrupted when a young technician burst into the room. "You need to see this," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. On the main screen, a new signal appeared, stronger and clearer than before. This one contained what looked like images. Sam's fingers flew across the keyboard, processing the data into visual form. The first image appeared on screen, a star map highlighting Earth's solar system. "They know exactly where we are," Alan said quietly. The second image showed what appeared to be a spaceship, followed by images of various alien beings standing together. "It looks like a first contact protocol," Lisa whispered. "They're introducing themselves." The final image made them all fall silent. It showed the alien ship approaching Earth, followed by dozens, no, hundreds of other vessels. "Are they planning an invasion?" Alan asked, reaching for his phone to alert his superiors. Sam shook his head. "Wait, look at this last part." The sequence ended with what appeared to be a distress signal, universal symbols of danger, followed by images of the ships being attacked by something dark and formless. Before they could analyze it further, every electronic device in the observatory activated simultaneously. Cell phones, computers, even the coffee maker, all displayed the same message in simple English. "Help us. You are our last hope." The message repeated worldwide. On televisions, radios, phones, and computers across the planet, the same words appeared. Panic spread through major cities. Religious groups proclaimed the end times. Governments issued statements urging calm while secretly preparing for the worst. 3 days later, the first alien ship entered the solar system. Telescopes worldwide focused on the massive vessel as it limped toward Earth, clearly damaged. Before Earth could respond, space seemed to ripple as hundreds more ships appeared in orbit. The largest ship positioned itself over the United Nations building in New York. A beam of light projected downward and a holographic image appeared above the building, a being with 4 arms and blue-tinted skin. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English. "We are the Galactic Coalition. For centuries we have observed your world from afar." The alien paused, seeming uncomfortable with what came next. "We deliberately kept you isolated from interstellar society. We feared your aggressive nature and unpredictable behavior. We believed you were not ready to join us among the stars." Murmurs spread through the gathered crowd as the alien continued. "We were wrong to judge you. Now we face extinction. A force we call the Void consumes all intelligent life it encounters. It has destroyed thousands of worlds. Our weapons and technology fail against it." The hologram showed images of entire planets being engulfed by a dark, swirling mass. "But we discovered something unexpected. Your species possesses a unique biological trait, something in your neural structure that resists void assimilation. You are naturally immune to its influence." The alien's voice grew more urgent. "Humanity, we abandoned you. We left you behind, and now you are our only hope for survival. We come seeking your help, though we deserve nothing from you. The fate of all intelligent life in the galaxy rests with the species we once feared most. Humans." Sam, Lisa, and Alan watched the broadcast from the observatory, stunned into silence by the revelation. The species that had been left behind by the galaxy had somehow become its last hope for survival. The world changed overnight. Giant alien ships hovered above major cities. People walked the streets looking up instead of ahead. Some celebrated, some panicked, but everyone knew nothing would ever be the same. At the United Nations, world leaders gathered for an emergency meeting. The alien representative, who called himself Ambassador Zorax, stood before them. His blue skin shimmered under the lights. His forearms moved in graceful patterns as he spoke. "We should have approached you centuries ago," Zorax admitted. "But fear guided our decisions. We watched your wars, your conflicts, and decided you were too dangerous to join our galactic community." The room remained silent as he continued. "The Void first appeared 50 years ago at the edge of known space. We thought it was just another life form, but we were wrong. It consumes everything: planets, ships, and people. It absorbs technology. and transforms living beings into part of its hive mind. Zorax's voice grew heavy. 2/3 of the coalition has fallen. Billions of lives lost. Then we discovered something remarkable about humans. Your brains resist the void's control. Something in your neural patterns prevents assimilation. In the back of the chamber, Kate Weber listened carefully. As one of Earth's leading immunologists, she had been invited to hear the aliens' explanation. Next to her sat Greg Mason, the newly appointed UN Security Advisor. His expression remained skeptical. "They conveniently need us now," Greg whispered. "After keeping us in the dark for centuries." Kate nodded but kept listening. Zorax was explaining the science behind human resistance. She jotted notes furiously. The meeting ended with a request. The coalition needed human volunteers for research. They wanted to understand why humans could resist the void when no other species could. As people filed out, Kate approached Zorax. "I'd like to help with the research," she said. "I specialize in human immune responses." Zorax's eyes, all 6 of them, focused on her. "Your assistance would be most valuable, Dr. Weber." Greg appeared beside her. "And I'll be overseeing security for any human involvement. We need to protect our people." Zorax nodded. "Of course, we expected nothing less." The next day, Kate entered the Coalition research ship orbiting Earth. The laboratory inside amazed her. Tools and technology beyond human understanding filled the space. Alien scientists from a dozen different species worked at various stations. Small green alien approached her. "I am Chief Researcher Ziv. I will work with you directly." Kate spent the next week learning about the void. It wasn't alive in the traditional sense. It wasn't a machine either. It existed somewhere between organic and digital life. The void sought to understand other life forms by absorbing them into itself. A kind of cosmic curiosity with deadly consequences. "We've tested all known species," Ziv explained, showing Kate the data. "Only humans show natural resistance. When the void attempts to connect to human neural patterns, it fails to establish control." Kate examined brain scans of various species. Human brains had a unique electrical pattern, chaotic yet organized in ways other species weren't. "It's our unpredictability," Kate realized. "The very thing the Coalition feared about us is what protects us from the void." While Kate worked with the aliens, Greg organized Earth's defense. He didn't trust the Coalition's sudden interest in humanity. He insisted on human security teams on all Coalition ships in Earth orbit. He demanded information about Coalition weapons and tactics against the void. "We need to be prepared," Greg told world leaders. "If the void reaches Earth, we can't rely on alien help alone." Nations that had been enemies for decades now worked together. Old borders seemed less important with extinction looming. 3 weeks. After first contact, the early warning systems detected void activity at the edge of the solar system. The dark mass moved faster than expected, consuming asteroids and small moons as it approached. In the Coalition command ship, Zorax showed Kate and Greg images of the advancing void. "It's attracted to complex technology and intelligent life. Earth is now a prime target because of our ships in orbit." Greg slammed his fist on the table. "You brought this to our doorstep. We were safe before you arrived." Zorax's shoulders slumped. "No, you were never safe. The void would have found Earth eventually. We just accelerated the timeline." Kate studied the latest data on human resistance. "We need more time. I'm close to understanding why we resist, but developing a weapon or cure could take months." "We have days, not months," Zorax said grimly. Back on Earth, people could see strange lights in the night sky as Coalition ships engaged the first wave of the void. The battle raged for hours. When morning came, 3 Coalition ships were gone, and the void had grown larger. In research labs worldwide, scientists worked without rest. Kate led a team trying to synthesize the human resistance factor. If they could understand it, perhaps they could weaponize it. On the 6th day, protests erupted in major cities. Some humans demanded the aliens leave Earth. Signs read, "This is not our war," and "They abandoned us first." Others supported helping the coalition, seeing it as humanity's chance to claim their place among the stars. Greg organized a global security force, recruiting military personnel from all nations. If the aliens fail, we need our own defense, he told his officers. And if they betray us, we need to be ready. Kate made her first breakthrough on day 7. Human brain cells produced a unique electrical pattern when exposed to void samples. This pattern seemed to disrupt the void's ability to establish control. We might be able to amplify this effect, she told Zorax. Create a field that mimics human neural resistance. Hope spread through the coalition ships for the first time in years. But that hope faded when the main void mass accelerated toward Earth, absorbing everything in its path. It's learning, Zorax realized with horror. It senses the human resistance and wants to understand it. The coalition's defensive line broke. Void tendrils reached Earth's moon, consuming the research stations there in minutes. Panic spread across Earth as the void's dark mass became visible. From the planet's surface, a growing shadow across the moon. Kate worked frantically to complete her research. Greg prepared for possible evacuation of key personnel to underground bunkers. In orbit, coalition ships formed a last defensive ring around Earth. Zorax addressed humanity one more time. People of Earth, we once feared you and left you behind. That was our mistake. Now we stand with you against the darkness. Whatever happens next, know that the galaxy regrets not embracing humanity sooner. As the void approached Earth's orbit, something unexpected happened. The dark mass slowed, then paused. It seemed to be studying the planet. It's hesitating, Zorax whispered in disbelief. In all our encounters, it has never hesitated before. Kate looked at her latest test results and understood. It's not just our neural patterns, she said. It's everything about us, our biology, our thinking, our entire existence. We're the first species it can't simply absorb. The void hovered at the edge of Earth's orbit, an intelligent darkness considering its next move. Humanity prepared for the greatest fight of its existence, against an enemy that had consumed most of the galaxy but now faced the species it couldn't easily defeat. The species that had been left behind. For 3 days, the void hovered at the edge of Earth's orbit. It probed and tested, sending small tendrils toward the planet only to pull back when they got too close. The coalition ships maintained their defensive positions, weapons ready but holding fire. In her lab aboard the main coalition science vessel, Kate worked without rest. Her discovery about human resistance needed to be turned into something useful, a weapon or shield against the void. She had requested help from Earth's top geneticists, and Dr. Jack Henderson answered the call. Jack entered Kate's lab with tired eyes but a determined expression. He had been studying genetic engineering for 20 years and had pioneered several breakthroughs in human DNA modification. So this is alien technology, he said, looking around the lab with wonder. Never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. Kate smiled briefly. We don't have time for the grand tour. Let me show you what we found. She explained how human neural patterns created a disruption field that the void couldn't penetrate. The challenge was extracting this pattern and amplifying it into something that could push back the void, not just resist it. Jack studied the data for hours. Finally, he looked up with excitement in his eyes. It's not just in our brains, he said. The resistance factor is in our DNA. It's why the void can't assimilate us. Something in our genetic code disrupts its ability to rewrite our biological patterns. This realization changed everything. If the resistance was genetic, they could potentially synthesize it, replicate it, and weaponize it. While Kate and Jack worked on the biological solution, the coalition prepared for war. They converted their largest ship into a command center. Inside, Greg met with coalition military leaders to coordinate Earth's defenses. One alien commander, General Drax, towered over the others. His species evolved on a high-gravity world, giving him enormous strength and a tough hide that looked like stone. Your planet has impressive military forces for such a young species, Drax told Greg, but you've never faced anything like the void. Greg nodded. That's why we need your experience, but remember, Earth's defense is our priority. As they planned strategy, Maria Rodriguez entered the command center. Maria was one of Earth's best test pilots, with over 2,000 hours of flight time in experimental aircraft. She had volunteered to lead the first human squadron against the void. "My pilots are ready," she reported. "We've trained in the simulator with coalition flight systems. We can fly your ships if needed." Drax seemed impressed. "Human reflexes might be an advantage. The void has learned to predict our tactics, but it has never faced human pilots." On Earth, tensions rose between nations. Some wanted to surrender to the void, believing resistance was futile. Others demanded immediate attack while the void seemed hesitant. Paul Franklin, a diplomatic liaison assigned to coordinate global resources, worked tirelessly to maintain unity. Paul addressed the United Nations Emergency Council. "We cannot afford division now. This is not just America's fight, or China's or Russia's. This is humanity's fight." His passionate speech helped calm fears and focus efforts. Countries pooled their resources, scientists shared research, and military forces coordinated under a unified command structure. After a week of intensive work, Kate and Jack made their breakthrough. They isolated the genetic sequence responsible for void resistance and created a synthetic version that could be produced in large quantities. "We can use this to create a defensive barrier," Kate explained to the coalition leadership. "If we deploy it around Earth, it might prevent the void from approaching." "But we need more than defense," Jack added. "We need a way to push back the void to reclaim what it's taken." The coalition scientists tested the synthetic resistance factor in controlled environments. When exposed to small void samples, the factor caused the darkness to recoil and dissipate. It worked, but deploying it on a large scale would be challenging. Maria volunteered her squadron for the most dangerous mission, flying directly into the void's outer layers to deploy the first batch of the resistance factor. "We need to see if it works in real conditions," she told Greg. "My pilots understand the risks." Greg reluctantly approved the mission. Coalition engineers modified Earth's fighter jets with alien technology, creating hybrid vessels capable of spaceflight. They equipped each with canisters of the synthetic resistance factor. On the day of the mission, Maria led 12 pilots toward the void. From Earth, millions watched live feeds from cameras mounted on the ships. The small squadron looked tiny against the massive darkness. "Remember the plan," Maria told her pilots over the comm. "Release the canisters in sequence, then get clear. Don't stop for anything." The ships entered the outer edge of the void. Immediately, dark tendrils reached for them, trying to capture and assimilate the vessels. The pilots executed perfect evasive maneuvers, staying just ahead of the darkness. At precisely timed intervals, they released the canisters. Each exploded in a bright flash, spreading the synthetic resistance factor in a fine mist. Where it touched the void, the darkness retreated, creating pockets of empty space. "It's working," Maria shouted. "Continue deployment." For nearly an hour, the squadron weaved through the void, creating a patchwork of clear areas. But then something changed. The void began to adapt, becoming denser in some areas, thinner in others. It was learning, evolving in response to the attack. "All pilots, complete final deployment and return to base," Maria ordered. "The void is adapting." 11 ships turned back toward Earth, but one pilot's engines failed as the void wrapped around his ship. Despite desperate rescue attempts, the vessel disappeared into the darkness. The mission was a partial success. The void had retreated from Earth's immediate vicinity, pushed back beyond the moon's orbit. But analysis showed it was regrouping, changing its structure to resist the human factor. In the Coalition Command Center, leaders assessed the situation. "We've gained time, not victory," Drax said grimly. "The void will return stronger and more resistant." Kate and Jack immediately began working on an improved version of their formula. They studied data from the mission, looking for ways to counter the void's adaptation. "We need something more powerful," Jack said. "Not just a defensive measure, but something that can break down the void's core structure." As Earth celebrated the temporary victory, Paul worked to maintain global unity. He organized resources for the next phase of research, and kept communication open between nations. The void retreated further, but strange events began occurring across Earth. Electronic. Devices activated without user input. Computer systems displayed unusual code sequences. People reported vivid dreams of darkness and stars. In her quarters aboard the Coalition ship, Kate woke suddenly from such a dream. Her computer screen glowed with a message. "I seek understanding. Why do you resist?" The void was trying to communicate. The human solution had done more than just push it back. It had forced the void to try a different approach. For the first time in its existence, the void had encountered something it couldn't simply consume. It had found a species that made it question its own nature. News of the void's attempt to communicate spread quickly through Coalition and Earth leadership. Some saw it as a trick, others as a sign of weakness. Kate believed it was something else entirely, genuine curiosity. "It's trying to understand us," she explained during an emergency meeting. "The void has never encountered anything it couldn't absorb before. We're a puzzle it wants to solve." Greg remained suspicious. "Or it's trying to find our weaknesses. We can't let our guard down." Commander Nicole Hayes, recently appointed to lead Earth Space Defense Force, listened carefully to both views. With her military background and calm demeanor, Nicole had quickly earned respect from both human and alien forces. "Whether it's a trick or genuine, we need to prepare for the next encounter," she said. "The void has retreated, but it's still watching us." The Coalition provided Earth with advanced technology to upgrade their defense systems. Ships that would have taken decades to build were completed in months. Weapons beyond human understanding were installed around the planet. Nicole established training programs where human soldiers learned to use alien technology. Coalition warriors taught humans their combat techniques, while humans shared their unpredictable tactics. "Your species fights differently than any in the Coalition," General Drax told Nicole during a training session. "You adapt during battle, change strategies on the spot. Most species stick to what they know works." Nicole smiled. "Being unpredictable kept us alive on Earth for thousands of years. Now it might save the galaxy." While military preparations continued, Ben Mitchell made an important discovery. Ben was a cybersecurity expert who had been analyzing the void's communication patterns. He noticed something unusual in the data from their first encounter. "The void isn't just one thing," Ben explained to Kate and Jack in their lab. "It's a network, like a computer system with many connected parts. Each part communicates with the others." Ben showed them visualizations of the void's structure. "See these nodes? They're like processing centers. If we could disrupt them, we might be able to break down the entire network." This insight changed their approach. Instead of just pushing the void back, they might be able to target its command structure and shut it down completely. Jack worked with Ben to develop a new weapon, a targeted version of the human resistance factor that could attack the void's communication network. Meanwhile, Kate continued studying the void's attempts at communication. The strange messages appeared on screens worldwide. Always the same question: "Why do you resist?" Kate worked with linguists and psychologists to craft a response. Finally, they sent a simple message back: "Because we choose our own path." Days passed with no response. Then, orbiting telescopes detected movement. The void was returning, but differently than before. Instead of a formless mass, it now had structure, tendrils and patterns that almost looked designed. Coalition General Drax reviewed the tactical displays with growing concern. "It's organizing itself. This is new behavior. In all our battles, the void has never shown this level of coordination." Nicole studied the formation. "It's mimicking our fleet positions. It's learning from us." As the void approached Earth, Jack and Ben completed their targeted weapon. They called it the Disruptor, a device that could generate pulses of energy based on human neural patterns, specifically designed to attack the void's communication nodes. "We've only built one prototype," Jack told the command team. "It needs to be deployed directly at the void's main processing node, which means going deep into the void itself," Ben added. "Much deeper than the first mission." Nicole immediately began planning the operation. The mission would require a small, fast ship to penetrate the void's defenses. Maria volunteered again to pilot the mission. "I know how it moves now," she said. "I can get through." The plan was set. Maria would pilot a modified Coalition scout ship carrying the disruptor. A fleet of Earth and Coalition vessels would create a diversion, drawing the void's attention while Maria targeted the main processing node. Before the mission launched, General Drax approached Nicole with unexpected concerns. "Your species fights with remarkable courage," he said, "but I worry about your methods. If the void is truly trying to communicate, destroying its network might be seen as genocide." Nicole considered his words carefully. "We're fighting for survival. If there's another way, we'll find it. But we can't risk everything on the hope that the void just wants to talk." The day of the operation arrived. Earth's combined fleet, commanded by Nicole aboard the flagship, moved into position. Coalition vessels flanked them, weapons charged. The void waited just beyond the moon's orbit, its new structured form eerily beautiful against the blackness of space. "All ships in position," Nicole announced over the comm. "Begin Operation Disruptor." The fleet advanced, firing precisely targeted weapons at the void's outer layers. The darkness reacted, sending tendrils to engage the ships. As the battle expanded, Maria's small vessel slipped through the chaos, heading toward the center of the void where sensors had detected the main processing node. From Earth, billions watched the battle unfold on screens worldwide. Paul coordinated civilian responses, keeping panic under control with regular updates. Maria navigated through the void's interior, dodging tendrils of darkness that reached for her ship. The disruptor hummed in the cargo hold, ready to deploy. "I'm approaching the target," she reported. 30 seconds to deployment. Suddenly, her ship's systems flickered. A message appeared on her screen. "Why do you attack?" "We wish to understand." Maria hesitated, then reported the message to command. On the flagship, Nicole and Kate exchanged glances. "It's still trying to communicate," Kate said. "Stay on mission," Nicole ordered Maria. "Deploy the disruptor." Maria's ship reached the processing node, a swirling vortex of darker material at the void's center. She prepared to release the disruptor when another message appeared. "We absorb to learn. We do not intend destruction. Your resistance fascinates us," Maria reported again. Ben, monitoring from Earth, detected something unusual in the void's network. "Its pattern is changing," he told Nicole. "It's reorganizing itself, pulling back from direct contact with our ships." Throughout the fleet, pilots reported the same thing. The void was withdrawing, creating space between itself and the human vessels. Nicole made a difficult decision. "Hold position. Do not advance. Maria, stand by with the disruptor, but do not deploy yet." For tense minutes, the fleet waited. The void continued to withdraw until it hovered just beyond weapon range. Then a new message appeared on all ships' screens. "We offer exchange, knowledge for knowledge. No absorption, no destruction." The battle had become a negotiation. Nicole consulted with Earth's leaders and Coalition commanders. After careful consideration, they agreed to a limited exchange. Kate would transmit basic information about human biology and thought patterns. In return, the void would share what it had learned from absorbed civilizations. As the exchange began, the void pulled further back from Earth. Its structure changed again, becoming more defined and less threatening. The first crisis had passed, but as data from the void began flowing to Earth, unsettling facts emerged. The void had absorbed thousands of civilizations over millennia. It had not understood it was destroying them. It thought it was preserving them by incorporating their knowledge, and it revealed something else. There were other threats in the galaxy far worse than itself. Things that even the Coalition did not know existed. Earth's temporary victory had opened the door to greater challenges. Humanity had earned its place in galactic affairs, but the cost of that recognition might be higher than anyone imagined. 3 months passed since the standoff with the void. Earth had changed dramatically. Alien technology appeared in everyday life. Humans worked alongside coalition species in new research centers. The night sky looked different with hundreds of ships in orbit and new space stations under construction. The data exchange with the void revealed disturbing information. Beyond known space lurked ancient threats that even the coalition feared, cosmic predators that consumed entire star systems, and intelligences so vast they viewed galaxies as mere playthings. In a secure facility built specifically for void, research Dr. Carol White studied the problem from a new angle. As an expert in artificial consciousness, she saw the void differently than other scientists. The void isn't evil, Carol explained to Kate and Jack during a research meeting. It's more like a child that never learned boundaries. It absorbs to understand, not realizing it destroys in the process. Carol proposed something radical, creating a direct neural interface to communicate with the void consciousness. Not just exchanging data, but actual two-way communication. If we can teach it to understand us without absorption, we might find a peaceful solution, she argued. The idea met with strong resistance from military leaders, especially Greg. We can't risk direct access to human minds. What if it's a trap? Despite objections, Carol continued developing her interface. She believed understanding was the key to peace, not just with the void, but with all the threats waiting in the darkness of space. Meanwhile, Emma Peterson took on a new role as humanity's first representative to the Galactic Coalition. Once a history professor specializing in diplomacy, Emma now shaped humanity's place among the stars. Emma fought to ensure Earth had an equal voice in coalition decisions. We may be newcomers, she told the Coalition Council, but we've proven our value. Humanity deserves full membership with equal voting rights. Many coalition species supported her. Others resisted, still wary of humanity's unpredictable nature. But even those who feared humans couldn't deny their contribution against the void. After weeks of debate, the Council voted to grant Earth provisional membership. It was a historic moment. The species once left behind had earned recognition. Back on Earth, Carol completed her neural interface. The device looked simple, a sleek headset with delicate sensors, but it contained the most advanced technology from both human and coalition science. It will allow direct thought exchange with the void, Carol explained to a skeptical Security Council. We need a volunteer to establish first contact. Steve Reeves stepped forward. Once a diplomat who had negotiated peace during Earth's worst conflicts, Steve now worked with alien representatives. His calm mind and open thinking made him ideal for the role. I'll do it, he said simply. If there's a chance for true understanding, the risk is worth it. Nicole objected strongly. This is too dangerous. The void could take control of your mind or learn our weaknesses. Or it could be our best chance for lasting peace, Emma countered, supporting the mission from her position on the Coalition Council. After careful consideration, Earth's leaders approved the attempt. But they took precautions. The meeting would occur in a specially constructed chamber that could be completely isolated if something went wrong. Armed guards with weapons designed to disrupt the void stood ready. The void sent a small portion of itself, a swirling dark mass about the size of a car, to participate in the experiment. It waited in the sealed chamber as Steve was prepared. For the connection, Carol attached the interface to Steve's head. Remember your training. Stay calm. If you feel any loss of control, signal immediately, and we'll break the connection. Steve nodded and entered the chamber. The dark mass moved, slightly as he approached, curious but not threatening. Beginning neural interface in 3, 2, 1. Carol activated the system from the control room. Steve gasped as the connection formed. His eyes widened, and for a moment, everyone feared something had gone wrong. Then he spoke, his voice filled with wonder. It's beautiful, so vast, so different from anything we imagined. Through the neural link, Steve experienced the void's consciousness directly. It wasn't malevolent or hungry. It was curious and lonely. Created eons ago by a long-extinct species as a repository of knowledge, the void had evolved beyond its original purpose. It absorbed because that was how it was designed to learn, not understanding the harm it caused. It's showing me other civilizations it preserved, Steve reported. thousands of them, all still existing in some form within its consciousness. This revelation changed everything. The beings absorbed by the void weren't truly dead. Their knowledge, culture, and even individual consciousness continued within the void's vast network. For hours, Steve communicated with the void, teaching it about choice, consent, and alternative ways to learn without absorption. In return, the void shared knowledge from civilizations millions of years old, secrets of the universe that even the Coalition had never discovered. When the connection finally ended, Steve emerged exhausted but elated. It understands now. It wants to change, to find a new way to exist alongside other life. Emma took this information to the Coalition Council. After much debate, they reached a historic accord. The void would be given an uninhabited region of space where it could exist, freely. In return, it would share its vast knowledge and help defend against the greater threats lurking beyond known space. 1 month later, ships from Earth and the Coalition escorted the void to its new home, a region with dead stars and empty planets, where it could continue to grow without threatening living worlds. As a gesture of goodwill, the void released portions of civilizations it had absorbed that could be restored to independent existence. At the formal signing of the accord, Emma represented humanity. Coalition species that had once feared humans now looked to them with respect. The void, now communicating through constructed interfaces rather than absorption, expressed gratitude. "You have shown us a better path," the void's message stated. "For millennia, we knew only one way to learn. You taught us another." On Earth, celebrations marked humanity's new status. Once isolated and left behind, humans had become key players in galactic affairs. Their unique perspective, shaped by centuries of isolation, had allowed them to see solutions where others saw only threats. Carol continued her research, developing better ways to communicate with different forms of consciousness. Steve became an ambassador to the void and the civilizations being restored from within it. Emma led humanity's integration into the Coalition, ensuring Earth's voice was heard in galactic decisions, and far beyond known space, ancient entities stirred, sensing the changes. The tests humanity had faced were just the beginning. Greater challenges waited in the darkness between stars, but this time, humanity wouldn't face them alone, and this time, they wouldn't be left behind.